certain topic of something, like just started talking about like the disability with LS, but there is so much, and all I can do is tell you my experience, because like I said, everyone's is different. But I hope that this video reaches a lot of people and, you know, educates everybody on a disease out there that a lot of people don't know about, that is debilitating, that is painful, and like I said, going undiagnosed can lead to some very scary situations. Well, I'm glad to have you guys here with me again today. Thank you for sticking out through this video and listening to my short version of my LS story. If you want to know more, just message me. I'm more than happy to share. It's very important that to be comfortable to talk about it. It's not something you should be hiding. It should be something you should be talking about, because, you know, like I said, I've talked to a couple other women when I started coming out about it, and they were like, I had no idea that that was a thing. And